Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Ethereum is currently forming a brand new pattern on the chart that is potentially just about to break. In just a moment, I'll be getting into my next Ethereum price targets. And that is not all in this video, because a lot of you have been suggesting for me to update you guys again on Cardano. So of course, if you have altcoin suggestions, let me know in the comment section down below. But later in the video, I will be giving you guys some more updates on Cardano, because right now Cardano is actually breaking some significant levels that we need to be paying attention to. All of that and more in this video, so make sure you're watching all the way to the end so that you're not missing out on any of this valuable information. And just before we jump into it, make sure to leave a like on the video down below, and if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so that you're not missing out on any of these future updates. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Ethereum to US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame, and as you can see here, nothing too crazy has happened since yesterday. Once again, we've been looking slightly bearish since that rejection at around 4,000, but not overly bearish just yet. It's pretty much just sideways price action at the moment. But keep in mind that we do have this higher low structure on the 4-hour charts that we are currently maintaining. But if we start to lose this higher low structure from where we are right now, that could potentially complete a head and shoulders pattern. As you can see, we saw a small left shoulder just here, and then we saw the head, and right now we are potentially forming a small right shoulder to complete the head and shoulders pattern. But I want to make it clear that this is not confirmed just yet. This head and shoulders pattern is only confirmed if we finish forming this right shoulder here and actually break below this neckline right here. And this neckline that I'm talking about here for Ethereum is coming in at around 3,870 approximately. But more importantly, if we can break this previous low just here at around 3,830, give or take, then that is how you know that we're in for some lower price levels. And by the way, what's interesting about 3,830 in particular, if you watched yesterday's Ethereum update video on the channel, that was actually the exact level of support that I was talking about, where we could have a short-term bounce for Ethereum, once again at around 3,830. And if you're actually looking here on the chart after I filmed that video, we did indeed see a small bounce along that exact support level. But of course, we still need to pay attention to that level as support, because we can still break it. So if the head and shoulders pattern does end up completing, then the technical price target to the downside for Ethereum is coming in at around 3,650 US dollars approximately. And that price target is only just below the 38.2% Fibonacci level, coming in at around 3.7K. So that would be the next little range of support just there that I would be paying attention to for Ethereum to potentially see a bounce. Obviously, if we actually break these initial support levels first, because at the time of filming this video, we are still remaining above the first support levels at around 3.8K. Now, also keep in mind that right now the volume on Ethereum is rapidly declining to the downside. And obviously the fact that we're still currently in a weekend, trading is low. So it is actually very risky to trade where we are right now with no confirmations of these patterns. And the fact that we've gotten one rejection from the $4,000 resistance level, but we obviously haven't confirmed a break further to the downside. So once again, right now it would be very risky to enter a major trade, especially with high leverage. The majority of my Ethereum strategy right now is simply just to be dollar cost averaging into Ethereum and holding that for the long term. And of course, I'll be keeping an eye out for the next Ethereum trade, and I'll update you guys in real time over on my Twitter, which I'll have a link to my Twitter in the description down below. And if you want extra price targets and important levels that I'm paying attention to for Ethereum on both sides, definitely go back and check a few of my most recent Ethereum updates that are uploaded over the past 1 to 2 days here on the channel for the new viewers out there, just so I'm not repeating the same thing over and over for everyone else that is subscribed to this channel. And now just giving you guys a quick update on Ethereum versus Bitcoin here on the 4-hour chart. As you can see here, currently Ethereum is forming an ascending triangle pattern against Bitcoin. And technically speaking, this pattern is a bullish pattern. So that just means that it's technically more likely to break to the upside. But you have to also consider the fact that a lot of cryptos just at the moment in the immediate short term are in a little bit of a short-term cool-off. So normally when we do enter a short-term cool-off, that is not necessarily a good thing for Ethereum versus Bitcoin, especially if Bitcoin heads to the downside. I'm not saying that that's definitely going to be the case, but if it is, then usually Ethereum actually heads to the downside a little bit more than Bitcoin. So in that case, we would see a break to the downside. But either way, whether we're breaking the support or resistance here, we can have some price targets in place so that we can prepare our strategy beforehand. And right now, the resistance for this pattern just here on Ethereum versus Bitcoin is coming in at around 0.079 Bitcoin per Ethereum. And the supports just here is coming in at around 0.0775 Bitcoin per Ethereum. And if we see a break of the resistance to the upside, then the price target is coming in at around 0.0835 Bitcoin per Ethereum. And if we see a break of the support just here, then the price target to the downside would be coming in at around 0.073 Bitcoin per Ethereum. So honestly, I'll most likely just be holding my current Ethereum and Bitcoin positions as they are. I'll let you guys know if I make any other sudden movements in Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Like for example, perhaps if we do end up seeing a break to the downside, then if that's the case, I might move a little bit of my Ethereum into Bitcoin. But of course, I'll keep you guys updated in real time over on my Twitter and also on this YouTube channel in these regular update videos. Now getting into the Cardano part of this video. Once again, Cardano is one of your most suggested altcoins in the comment section down below. So that's why I've included Cardano in yet another update video here on the channel. So yeah, getting into Cardano here, we're on the 4-hour charts, by the way. And of course, as you can see here, we have been forming a giant rising wedge pattern when you're actually measuring out the line of resistance along these 3 highs just here and measuring out this line of support along all of these bounces just here. Of course, once again, that makes a rising wedge pattern, which technically speaking is a bearish pattern. So it's technically more likely to break to the downside. And by the way, I actually covered the break of this pattern as it was happening in real time over on my Twitter with this update, as you can see here. And once again, you'll find a link to my Twitter in the description down below. But anyway, as you can see here, we haven't yet found major confirmation of the break to the downside yet. Of course, we are currently trading well below this support level, which by the way, this support level is coming in at roughly around $2.95. But you can see here that Cardano hasn't really seen any major spike in volume. We're also on a weekend, which is another sign to be a little bit skeptical of the current price action. So if we can get a little bit more of a retest here perhaps, or if the volume simply picks up more to the upside, then those are the sort of things that I will be paying attention to confirm this break to the downside just here for Cardano. And getting into some Fibonacci levels to pay attention to right now, this is really interesting because at the moment, Cardano is now seeing a perfect bounce along the 23.6% Fibonacci level, coming in at around $2.80, give or take. Anything lower than that, if we start breaking below $2.80, then of course we'll have a bit of support at these previous lows at around $2.73, give or take. But more importantly, I'll be looking at the 38.2% Fibonacci level coming in at around $2.64 approximately. Anything lower than $2.60, then we have the 50% Fibonacci level coming in at pretty much exactly $2.50, which is also very interesting because as you can see here, Cardano has confirmed that exact level as huge support previously. And then just below that, we have the golden pocket, the 61.8% Fibonacci level coming in at roughly around $2.36. So those are the major levels that I will be paying attention to for Cardano if we do continue to break these initial levels first, of course. And even though the technical price target for a rising wedge pattern is the bottom of the wedge, which by the way is coming in at around $2, even just below $2, I actually explained here on a follow-up tweet that I actually don't really expect Cardano going that low unless we see a major pullback in a lot of other top cryptos like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Then perhaps in that case, Cardano could go that low. But in a more likely pullback, once again, if we confirm this break to the downside even more, then I would actually be targeting closer towards around $2.50, which is once again that 50% Fibonacci level and this huge low just back here. Now zooming out to the daily time frame for Cardano, this is really interesting because right now Cardano is actually forming very similar patterns in the price and the RSI to this area on the chart back here during the end of February this year. As you can see, first of all, in the RSI down the bottom here, I'm sure you can already see the similarities between these two time periods in the market and also now in the price as well. When you're actually taking a look, first of all, at that area in the beginning of this year, going from January into February, as you can see, Cardano was very bullish. We had a very bullish movement leading into the end of February. And then what we saw in the second half of February, we actually saw a major bearish divergence form on the daily time frame, which basically means that we were forming higher highs in the price for Cardano, but the RSI on the other hand was forming lower highs. So that basically signaled to us that the uptrend was actually losing momentum and we are actually due for some sideways price action, if not slightly to the downside. But as you can see here, what came next for Cardano was actually quite a long sideways consolidation. So even though this is called a bearish divergence, once again, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see a big crash or anything. A lot of the time, a bearish divergence honestly just results in a sideways consolidation. And now taking a look at the current price for Cardano, as you can see, we've obviously seen a very similar extreme bullish movement, just like what we saw in the beginning of this year. And then obviously Cardano has been forming higher highs in the price, but in the RSI, we have been forming lower highs on the daily time frame, which of course means that we have now seen a huge bearish divergence form in the daily time frame for Cardano. So if this were to play out just like like last time, then once again, we could be in for quite a bit of sideways price action. And in fact, the sideways price action that happened last time lasted from around the beginning of March all the way up towards around the beginning of May. And that is when we finally saw a major pump to the upside again before, of course, that major correction towards the end of May. So after seeing that huge bearish divergence on the daily time frame, once again, for the next 2 months, Cardano did not too much over the next 2 months. Of course, if you're zooming into the smaller time frames, like the 4-hour time frame, for example, and taking a look at what actually happened back there, we did actually see major moves to the upside and to the downside if you're looking on the smaller time frames. But when you're looking at the big picture on the daily time frame, once again, nothing too crazy actually happened for the next 1 to 2 months just here. And so that could simply be a likely scenario just about to happen right now. Once again, just some sideways price action, or I should say a sideways range for Cardano over the next 1 to 2 months. Now, while we're in this sideways price action, of course, we can trade these short-term movements, but this just means that on the big picture, on these huge trends, we're going to simply put a pause on this trend. And now just taking a quick look on the Cardano to Bitcoin chart just here, as you can see, we are seeing some similar things. Now, the similarities in this case aren't between where we are right now and the beginning of the year, as I was just discussing for Cardano versus the US dollar. The similarities in this case are actually between right now and around May and June this year. So first of all, when Cardano valued against Bitcoin reaches these overbought areas on the daily time frame, that is straight away usually a good indication that we are due for another cool off, perhaps to the downside. And what we're seeing right now, of course, is pretty much the exact same pattern as what we saw during the very beginning of June this year. That was initially an ascending triangle pattern, which is kind of funny because obviously that's meant to be a bullish pattern, but we did indeed break to the downside. So that just goes to show that even though something may be a bullish pattern, it technically can still break to the downside. Nothing is impossible in these markets. And once again, as you can see, we are seeing a very similar thing right now, an ascending triangle pattern on the daily time frame that has broken to the downside. And even if you're just zooming out and looking at the much bigger picture for Cardano versus Bitcoin just here, Cardano usually splits up these major bull markets into separate phases. As you can see just here, for example, we have huge bullish advancements, and then we actually come back down and basically enter a cool off before we enter the next bullish advancement, and then we have another cool off, and then the next bullish advancement. And by the way, this low all the way back here, that was the very beginning of this year. So this shows everything that Cardano has done this year against Bitcoin. Once again, this is valued against Bitcoin. You can really see how similar these phases were in size and also in the short-term cool-offs as well. So right now we are potentially getting ready for another short-term cool-off before eventually the next major move to the upside. And as I said over here on my Twitter, short-term cool-offs are completely normal during an uptrend. Never expect anything to go up in a straight line, and that is seriously true. In fact, the more short-term cool-offs we have, the higher that we will go in the long term, because those short-term cool-offs actually shake out the weak hands, and those people that just panic sell during any sort of bearish price action end up FOMOing in back later into the market, which then of course provides extra buying pressure at higher prices, which is what we need for the price to get up to those higher prices. So all of this should not matter for the long-term holders out there. This sort of information is just for those of you that want to take advantage of these short-term opportunities in the market. But anyway, that's just about everything I have to say for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to leave a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe if you are new, and obviously don't forget to turn on notifications as well so that you're not missing out on any of these future videos. And as always, I really do appreciate all of your support on the channel at the moment. I try and read every single one of your comments, and also just be careful in the comment section down below because there are scammers down there. So if you see any comment or a reply to your comment with like a phone number or an email or a Telegram or a WhatsApp, anything like that, that is a scammer. Even if it looks like it's from me, if it's giving you something like a contact detail, that is a scammer. Please do not send anyone crypto that you find from the YouTube comment section. But anyway, that's really everything I have to say for this video. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.